Go ahead and unmute, Teresa.
I have unmuted. Okay. Yay. Welcome, everybody. I am excited that you are all here, and I invite you to be excited too, because we as dowsers know this really cool thing that has this enormous potential. And what is fun is that we have this opportunity to learn all the different ways that we can use this tool and that we may not have even thought about, and to open our minds and become aware of what can be done and to spread the word. So thank you all for showing up, because it wouldn't be nearly as fun without you. And we're glad you're here. So it's my understanding that Tucson Dowsers has attempted about 3 times to get today's speaker to come speak to our group. And today we have been successful. And we welcome Joey Korn. And in just a few minutes, Joey will be sharing his knowledge on personal energy clearing and space clearing. So thank you, Joey. We're looking forward to it. Once again, Tucson Dowsers is very grateful to Appalachian Dowsers who are sponsoring today's meeting. They also sponsored last month's meeting. So thank you, Appalachian Dowsers. Because of you, we were able to increase our Zoom room capacity from 100 to 500 people. So everyone who comes in after number 100 is very grateful to you. We thank you very much. If you would like to sponsor a meeting in your name or someone else's name, your dog's name, your cat's name, your horse's name, anybody, business, organization, all you have to do is make a $50 donation. $50 is what it costs us to upgrade our meeting room. And that is where the money will go. And for your generosity, we will mention you in our newsletter. If you choose, you can have a business card size ad in that. We will also thank you with our meeting. So thank you very much. And thank you again, Appalachian Dowsers. You can find a link on our website. So our website came online a little earlier than we expected. It was kind of a surprise. And so you can still make donations. If you want to sign up for our email list, you need to go to the area, to the menu, which is the 2 bars on the right next to the logo. And then you press contact. And then in the contact window that says, has our email address, and then below that it says subscribe, and you add your email to that and then send it in. But I'm also asking that if you do that, you send us an email to let us know that you subscribed at tucsondowsers@gmail.com, so that we can make sure that the link is working and that we're getting the information. So thank you very much. You can also mail us a check, and I will give you info on that, because other ways you can support Tucson Dowsers is to become a member. And it's $40 a year for individuals, $50 a year for a family, and $20 if you're a student. And when you, if you send us a check or if you use the PayPal link, we ask that you put a memo in that says what the money is for. If you want to be a sponsor, if you want to be a member, if you want to buy a t-shirt, which is another way you can support Tucson Dowsers. As you notice, all of us, yay, I can't do that. Somebody show a t-shirt. And we also have stickers with our Tucson Dowsers logo on it. And the t-shirts are $20 with $5 shipping. And you need to go to tucsondowsers@gmail.com to let us know what size you want and put in your contact information so we can send it to you. But you can pay for it using PayPal or sending a check. And then the stickers are $3.50 each, or 4 for $12. And I was just like, you could stick them on your office window or on your car or on your water bottle, anywhere to, you know, then people can ask you what Tucson Dowsers is and you can get them interested, and that would be awesome. Let's see what else. So, oh yeah, we also take donations of any amount, gratefully. And we use it to help pay the people who support us by sending out our MailChimp and sorry, I've got a Dave Miller on my screen, so I don't know why. And other things to support us continuing to go. Okay, thank you, Paula, for sending your donation and your t-shirt order. Yay, we're very excited and we really appreciate that. So you can mail a check made out to ASD, which is the American Society of Dowsers. Care to Tucson Dowsers, care of Carol Dickman at 2340 2341 North Chrysler, Tucson, Arizona, 85716. That information is on our new website. I'll do it again though.
It's in the chat too, Teresa. I put it in the chat.
Pardon?
It's on the chat.
Oh, okay, Kathleen's putting it in the chat. And so again, checks are made out to ASD and mailed to Tucson Dowsers, care of Carol Dickman, 2341 North Chrysler, Tucson, Arizona, 85716. And just please indicate what the money's to go for. So thank you to everyone who's donated and sponsored and bought a t-shirt. It really, really helps us. And welcome, welcome, welcome to our new members. We're excited to have you here. And as soon as we get the website fully up, then there may even be an advantage to that other than just supporting us. So thank you. We want to thank once again our March speakers, Antonia Van Becker and Greg Lee, for demonstrating their Core Talk healing technique. And if you joined our email list, you should have received a link in your email to the recording of that presentation. And if you haven't, then go to tucsondowsers.net and click on the menu button, go to contacts and subscribe. And then hopefully you'll be on our email list, but go ahead and send us another email at tucsondowsers@gmail.com and let us know that you did that so we can check it out and make sure you got through, because it's brand new. So we're still kind of testing our site and making sure things work. Okay, let's see, I said that. And oh, join us on Tuesday nights. We have a weather dowsing call. And we have a group that we would like to enlarge. We find that it's worked really well here in Tucson for helping to bring us more rain. Seems to work best when somebody from that area has joined in our meeting and to be more effective. So we invite you all. It's Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Arizona time, which is Pacific Daylight Time equivalent right now. And the link is the same as the one that you used here today. So hopefully we'll see you all on Tuesday nights too, and we can cover the entire world. And then Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, the Australian Dowsers, there's nobody here right now to, to plug for them, but they do a planetary assistance call, which is really lovely. And it's just to kind of help set the tone for the planet that we're choosing to create. So it's really awesome. So that is Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. The link to that meeting is in our newsletter. And Kathleen, can you put that in the chat? Is that a yes? No, nod? Okay, thank you. And our next meeting will be on Saturday, May 7th, and it's going to be featuring Susan Collins. And same time, same station, and she is going to be presenting on dowsing the future. And I've heard a lot of different topics, and this is the first time I've ever seen anyone that would speak on dowsing the future. So I'm very curious to see how that would work and excited to figure out how to use that as a tool. All right, so now we're at other announcements. So Sabrina, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and tell us your next speaker.
Hi, I'm Sabrina Nugent. I'm from Denver area, and I'm president of the MayaHagDowser.org. Our next speaker is Polly Katie. She's a handwriting analysis, and she does water dowsing, mineral dowsing, gold, silver, all that stuff. But what she's gonna do this next Saturday is gonna show you how to douse for your car health, how to keep your car going, or if there's something wrong, figure out exactly where it's located and all that. So it's gonna be a sort of a fun thing more than practical. So of course, as
that
you
sounds
go,
pretty practical to me.
yeah. As you know, anything that we can apply on people, we can apply on animal and home and whatever. So I think it'll be a real interesting 2 hours. So we open up the dowsing, the Zoom at 1, but it doesn't really get going till about 1:30.
Awesome.
You're all welcome.
Thank you. Oops, we muted you again, but that's all right. So I see that Susan Collins is here. And Susan, do you want to make a little announcement about the International Dowsing Day, which is on May 8th?
I'd be happy to do that. And I'd also like to welcome Teresa as one of our speakers.
I am so excited. Thank you.
I know. Yeah, this is the third year. Graham Gardner and I have been hosting this he's in Scotland, I'm in Canada. And International Dosing Day, it's generally May 5th, but we pick sort of a Sunday and just get together. So it's an opportunity to find out what's going on around the world. And we have people from the UK and Japan. So Graham and I are doing it May 8th, but Joey's here, and Joey is also on May 5th, and he and I and Graham and a couple of other people are doing International Dosing Day in Japan. So it'll be in English with Japanese. The Japanese are actually doing quite a bit of stuff these days, and we go in. I've been going in every 2 years, and they have a translator, so it's very exciting. So.
Wow.
Yeah, so ours on May 8th is a free thing, and go on to the International Dosing Day Facebook page, and I've got a link to it on my website. And then for the one in Japan, it's all in Japanese, so you're probably better off just coming into us. And then May 7th, of course, I'm talking about Dosing the Future. So probably
that's so exciting to me.
Oh, good. Well,
so thank you very much for agreeing to be a speaker.
Thank you.
All right. Ozark Research Institute is also having a conference, and it's online. Is there anyone here from ORI who wants to shout about that? If you are, unmute yourself and speak. I am not seeing anyone, but it is April 22nd and 23rd. And their website is ozarkresearch.org. Kathleen, if you put that in the chat, that would be great. And then, so that's like the first day, that the weekend that the talks are made available. And then I think they're up for a couple of weeks after that. So you can actually see them for a little while after those 2 days. All right, I think that's it. So now it's time. It's my delight to introduce Joey Korn. Joey learned how to dowse in 1986, and by 1997, he was teaching dowsing along with his blessing technique. So he combined dowsing and the blessing process to clear personal energy and space clearings. He has worked on site and remotely, and it has been his full-time profession for many years. Currently, Joey hangs out at home and does his personal clearing and space clearing from there over the phone. And he teaches through Zoom-like sessions. And he occasionally will do a retreat with his wife near their home in Augusta, Georgia. So Joey has given keynote addresses to dowsing conferences in the US, England, and Canada. And we are very grateful that he is with us today. So welcome, Joey. Thank you very much for being here. And if there's anything else that you would like to have mentioned that I didn't, tell us. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. And thank you, Kathleen, both of you, all of you, for helping to put this all together. All of you are involved in putting it together, and everybody participating. I see, it's 5 pages of people now. That's pretty darn good, I would say. Yeah, what you said, Teresa, about is, I forget exactly how you put it, but we don't really know the potential of dowsing. And it is so true that that you don't know where you can take it. Everybody can take it somewhere completely different. Dowsing to me is much more than a way to find lost objects or buried treasure, or find a place to dig a well, or minerals or oil, or ask yes no questions with a pendulum. It's much more than that. To me, dowsing is a spiritual practice, and where we can use the various tools in dowsing to explore the unseen world of spiritual energy, what I consider to be God's light. It's just, I've taken my own little route. You know, I've done every kind of dowsing I can think of in the 36 years that I've been dowsing. And I honed in on one tool, just like a musician might be able to play a lot of instruments. He or she probably has one favorite instrument that they like to do the most and they play the most. I have honed down to L rods, and I usually have a pair right here. I like to hold them up, but I didn't even think to bring them, and now I don't have any here. I'd have to go get them, and I'm not going to leave you. But anyway, I use dowsing for really only one purpose: to explore the energies of basically homes. I used to love to douse outside. I used to love to douse sacred spaces. But then when I started dowsing for energies inside homes, especially inside my own home, that's how it started. And now that's what I'm most intrigued with, the energies in our homes, in people's homes, because that's what's affecting us day in and day out all the time. And it's really more like we are affecting the energies. You see, to me, the energies of our homes are reflections and extensions of us. We create our energy environment with us and our family members and others who are energetically connected to our homes through our relationships with them. I call it imprinted. And that would be in our circle of extended family and friends. And then as we use our home, we're creating that energy environment. So the more troubled you are in life, the more troubled the energies of your home will be. The more problems you have in life, and that's and you, and not just you, your family, all that shows up in the energies of the home. So when I'm doing space clearing, which is all I do now, is Teresa mentioned, or Kathleen, I think Teresa mentioned, that I don't even travel to teach anymore, hardly at all, and haven't for years, because my on-site, Jill brought me a set of L rods. So this is our own brand of L rods. They're called, I call them portable L rods, because you can detach these little antennas, and then you can collapse it and put it in a pouch. And so this is what I use for everything. And I basically have learned through dowsing in homes now more than anything, my own home, because I'm connecting remotely to people, which I'll try to explain a little bit, and I will explain a little bit. I mainly look for certain kinds of energies, and I know where in my home, or if I'm on site, where in the home to look for certain energies. And you might, my focus is on space clearing, but again, what it really is, it all boils down to personal energy clearing. And I have come to realize, most of you have probably heard the term and maybe work with energies related to what dowsers call geopathic stress. Geo means of the earth. Pathic means related to illness. So is energies in the earth that can cause illness and other problems in our lives, is a way to interpret it. To me, I learned about that early on in my first dowsing conference I ever attended was in Vermont in '94, and I learned about geopathic stress. And I was able to find what we consider to be earth energies that doused as detrimental or out of balance. I could muscle test people in those energies, or have myself muscle tested, and you can feel that it's making you weaker. So that's where people get the idea, in my opinion, that of geopathic stress. Now it goes deeper than that, because people have gone into homes where people are sick and they find all these detrimental energies. Well, my question is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did the sickness and the problems in the home come first, or did the energies come first? I think the energies are here. To me, geopathic stress is an illusion. I don't want to step on people's toes. First talk I ever gave, gave, right after I gave it, Leroy Bill came up to me. He was later a president of the ASD for a while. And he said, Joey, I agree with everything you said in there, but you drop kicked a lot of dowsers in there. That was in 94. That was 96. And I've been careful about it ever since. But still now I've just, in the past few years, I just have to speak my truth. So to me, geopathic stress is an illusion, because the earth energies are here to help us, not harm us. Every other spiritual teaching says the earth is here to help us. Nature is here to support us. Earth energies are therefore here to support us. Why do so many dowsers think the earth energies that serve a function in the earth can cause problems for us? And what I've found is if the earth energies are detrimental, that's not a cause, that's a symptom. That's a symptom of another energy problem. And there's two primary energy problems that I work with. The most problem is what I call interference energy. I learned to find this interference energy in 15 years ago. Right about this, it was spring of 15 years ago, 2007, when I moved into this home, and I completely transformed the way I do my space clearings when I do that, when I moved here. And the way I do that is I don't just use a chart, or a diagram representing the home or the property or the space. There are some reasons that can still, reasons that could still be helpful, but I don't like dowsing with a little pendulum, on a chart to see what's going on. That's just my personal opinion. I like to hold the rods in my hands and walk around. So I thought, why can't I make my home the chart? So, why can't my home represent the remote home rather than the chart representing the remote home? So I start every session by connecting to my client that's going to be on the phone with me. I connect to their human energy, what I call their human energy pattern, which is one of the very first things I ever found that I felt was new to the dowsing world and unique in the dowsing world. And it's still, interestingly, that was back in 96, and now it's still the central feature of my work. If the energy there's an energy pattern that's connected to each of us. It goes with us everywhere we go. And almost everybody on the planet has at least a typical set of imbalances in the energy pattern. And that, now when I say imbalances, I don't mean the pattern is skewed. I mean, you might call it, it's carrying discordant energy, or you might call it cloudy rather than clear. So it's not capturing the spiritual light or God's light as fully as the pattern as that person could. And so I've found what I call a typical set of imbalances, and I'm hoping to get to a point where I can show you the different imbalances that I have come to realize what those imbalances mean. But if everybody in the home has a typical set of imbalances and nothing more, I know I'm not going to find any energy problems in the home. The one exception to that is electrical fields. A lot of people are afraid of concerned about electrical fields. Some of them are petrified of them. Some people are really, really afraid of them. But to me, I've learned why don't you try dowsing it? So if you would just douse towards your electronic device and say, show me any energies that might be radiating from this device that's harmful to us, you'll get reactions no matter what tools if you've learned to douse, you'll get reactions to detrimental energies. But then you can just say a blessing, and I'm gonna share that blessing along with other blessings. I'll get that towards the end. I'm going to share some blessing processes with you after we're done with the session today. But what's interesting about electrical fields, once you bless them, they'll be especially with what I call my electrical field blessing, which is my simple blessing process. Many of you are probably familiar with it. I bless the electrical fields to make them beneficial to all who enter the field, basically. And I like to add physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You always want to be thinking about when you're doing blessing work and dowsing. You want to think clearly what you want to douse for. So that's the exception. That wouldn't be geopathic stress anyway, electrical fields. But once you successfully bless an electrical field, it'll douse as beneficial. You'll muscle test strong in it, or when you're holding your phone, you'll test strong holding your phone rather than weak once you've blessed it. There's a special exercise I'll send you for testing that with the phone. And but now I want to go back to the earth energies. If the human energy pattern has more than what I call a typical set of imbalances that we're going to get to show you, then that tells me there's an energy problem in the home. And then the earth energies might be detrimental, what dowsers call the Hartman grid lines and the Curry grid lines. I'm beginning to call them the checkerboard grid and the diagonal grid. And they're similar energies, but if you can imagine, the way I find it, I find a checkerboard grid in the home, and I don't worry about the north, south, and east, west, and all that stuff. That would take too much time to explain my take on that. But if you just imagine, let's just call it the checkerboard grid instead of the Hartman grid. The checkerboard grid, if you can imagine a checkerboard grid of invisible energies, all the lines about 6 feet or 2 meters apart. Now imagine a diagonal grid, all the lines intersecting all the intersections of the checkerboard grid. All those lines are detrimental. They make a diagonal grid. If either of those grids are detrimental, they'll be detrimental throughout the home. So if the Hartman grid is detrimental, not necessarily the Curry, it'll be detrimental throughout the home. So, and then I find that if the diagonal grid, what I call the Curry grid, what I call the diagonal grid, if that's detrimental, the Hartman will be too. The energy fields go out of balance in an increasing order. And I don't worry at all about underground streams, that people do concern themselves about that energy. I think if we change our energies to be our energy pattern to be, I know from my experience anyway, if we change our energy patterns to be more balanced and beneficial, the energies of the underground streams will be more balanced and beneficial. Now, when the energy problems, the grids, when I do find extra imbalances in the energy pattern, in any energy pattern in the home, I'll probably find it in everybody's energy pattern because something is causing that. Or most of the people. And so, well, I'll find everybody I'm sort of rambling now. Let me get back on track. In fact, I'm going to go to a PowerPoint presentation. I'm just going to share with you what I find the human energy pattern looks like. And that's going to take me just a minute to get going. And then I'm going to share some more, and then I'll return. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this quickly. Is that working for everybody?
Yeah, that looks, yeah, we can see your honey from the rock slide.
Okay, that's a little premature. Okay,
there you go.
I started finding this energy pattern in '96. Now, the rectangle represents the bed. The person who illustrated it, I purposely wanted to illustrate them as beams of light. You might call them channels of light that capture God's light. The rest of it's just, it's just to make a nice room. That's all. But the bed seems to be floating there. Those energy lines are really like energy walls, I've learned through the years, a few inches thick, that rise through the bed up to about neck in height. They don't just stay there on the bed, okay? In time, when I found that around a bed in our home back in '96, like I said, this is really the second discovery I ever made. We'll just skip the first, but it was all in the same time frame. I found that pattern around every bed in my home. I knew dowsers weren't, I'd never read or heard anything about that being a repeating pattern around people's beds. And I started dowsing my friends' beds, my family members' beds. Then I started teaching when I do in-home sessions. When I used to do in-home sessions, we would end up in the bedroom, and not for the reasons that might come to some of your minds, but I like to bring everything together, because the bed pattern, or the bed pattern, is an imprint of the human energy pattern. The imbalances in the energy pattern will show up as detrimental Dows's detrimental energies. The balanced or clear energies will show up as beneficial energies. It's the way I've always done it. In time, I learned that there were more than that pattern, and I started finding two more lines intersecting the head corners of the bed. You see them in blue there, and then the foot corners of the bed that you see in green. And I was realizing there's more to this pattern than I thought. And some of those imbalances the energy lines could be clear and balanced and beneficial. Others could be out of balance. I wondered from 96 to 99 what this was. Let me go back to that. What this was, this pattern of energies, and who could I ask? I couldn't ask anybody. And I shared it with a lot of people, but anyway, I would ask of the universe. I would ask of God, of nature, and of the universe. What am I finding here? Why is it that everybody has this pattern around their beds? What does it mean? What is it all about? And then in 99, I've been led by revelations, by visions and revelations from within, since I was 21 years old, and in 1974. And so one day I was coming out of a meditation, which I've been doing several times a day for more than 40 years now. And back in 99, I was coming out of a meditation, and I was just told, I could feel it. I was just like commanded, reach over and grab a book off the bookshelf. And right behind my unread bookshelf, which was on the headboard of my bed. And I did so, and I was told from within that I would get a message about my work. Well, in short, I was just told to open it at any page. And I did, and that whole chapter seemed to be talking to me about my work. But then when I closed the book is when I got the real message. What I'm finding around beds and around people's energy patterns around their bodies, I think for more so than ever now, is the human soul level of the tree of life in Kabbalah. The tree of life was supposed to be the first, real quickly on that, the first thing ever put into place by our creator, and everything in creation, and everything in creation is patterned after the tree of life. It's taught that it's supposed to be, it's within us, it's around us. It repeats itself endlessly in the energies of creation. Now I want to go to another slide, just sort of fast forward through this. Here's more of a side-by-side comparison. And that on the left, you see the tree of life. On the right, the bed pattern. The main difference you see is my number 6 is right there in the middle. When I say my number 6, I don't douse the numbers. I douse the lines. They're primary. When subtle energy lines intersect each other, they create vortexes or vortices. And that's what I think these are. They're really vortexes. And some of the main primary teachings in Kabbalah, and the ancient teachings even do describe them as vortices or vortexes. Now, what I want to help you understand is a little bit about this energy pattern. I want you to focus on this. Is just something I got off the web to illustrate around. But just somebody, when you lie down, here we're going to focus on the master bedroom suite up here in the right-hand corner. When you lie down on any physical structure raised off the floor, not just beds, it can be a therapist's table, a doctor's table, a couch, any physical structure raised off the floor. If you lie down for 1 second, you don't have to sleep there. Lie down for 1 second, you'll leave an imprint of your human energy pattern. That will reflect out, not only will it be around the bed, but it will reflect out in the room. And as that pattern, which is that is a reflection of the human energy pattern. And they really all those lines repeat outward endlessly about a foot apart once you get past that central core. I say endlessly, I don't douse beyond the room, but it'll fill a room. Let's put it that way. Okay. Now, if there's any significant energy imbalances in the human energy pattern, it will cause it will cause what I call the house pattern, another level of the tree of life, which that is like what I consider to be a higher order energy pattern, higher order energies. And they douse as earth energies. And you can see the tree of life. I got it sideways there. People ask me, why do you have it sideways? And I said, well, because I couldn't get it to fit on the page the other way. So that's why I put it sideways. Now, if the energy problems are intense enough, and there, as I said earlier, there's two primary causes of interference energy. I mean, of energy problems in homes, of geopathic stress, you might call it, that I've worked with through all these years. And now it's been my full-time work for about 5 or 6 years. I don't even have time to go out and travel and teach anymore. And I can't even keep up with what I'm doing, So if there are, the two primary causes of energy problems are the presence of an earthbound spirit. The second most common, but the most common by far is interference energy. Interference energy is an energy line that people attract, and we're going to talk more about it when they go through difficult times. And once you attract it, you can catch it from others. So we're going to move on a little bit past that. It's not letting me, oh, there we go. There's the checkerboard grid. If an earthbound spirit is present in the home, hanging around the family or hanging around the home, just by the nature of it being there, it'll cause the house pattern to be detrimental, and it'll cause the checkerboard grid to be detrimental, but not the diagonal grid, unless it's unless the earthbound spirit has interference energy. But most of them do. Because we attract it as we go through difficult times in life. So when earthbound spirits get stuck, they get stuck for reasons. And they may have attracted, I would say they attracted the interference energy before they passed. And it's maybe part of the reason they get stuck in the next dimension. This is supposed to be, okay. Now, if there's interference energy in the home, it also causes the diagonal grid to be detrimental or out of balance. And it causes intense imbalances in everybody's energy patterns in the home, which I'm going to go into next. But you can see if there's interference energy, if there's interference energy connected to anybody in the home, it'll cause all that energy, all that to be out of balance. If you remove the interference energy, it'll correct all that, unless there's an earthbound spirit, or correct most of that. Unless there's an earthbound spirit, then you got to move the spirit on, which is another step. Now, I've drawn in here, the rectangle represents the bed in number 1. I've drawn in only imbalances in the human energy pattern. But remember, the whole energy pattern always looks like number 7, because I told you it repeats out beyond the central core. But we don't want to have any more imbalances than number 4. The first line shows imbalances I find in human energy patterns that are typical imbalances at various stages of life. So from birth to about 5 to 8 years old, we typically have no imbalances unless there's intense energy problems in the home or problems with that child or in that family. They'll have no imbalances. So I just don't draw in anything. As we get to be about 5 or 8, we get the minimal imbalances of an adult. By the time we're 12 to 13, which is number 2, by the time we're 12 to 13, puberty age, I find that we get the typical imbalances. No, the typical imbalances of an adult. When I said minimal imbalances of a human being. The number 4 represents the typical imbalances of an adult. And we get there usually about puberty age. That will stay with us at least 99% plus percent of us for the rest of our lives. If there's an earthbound spirit hanging around the home and there's no interference energy in the home, it'll cause these imbalance, which in the energy pattern, which are in number 5. Everything on the second row indicates energy problems. If interference energy is in the home, or somebody has imprinted themselves somewhere else where there's interference energy, their energy pattern will be out of balance, like number 6. You can see that's getting pretty intense. If somebody has interference energy connected directly to them, and it's much more common than you might think, it'll be totally out of balance, like number 7. You can see that's quite a mess. And so now I'm going to go back to stop sharing, screen sharing, back. Okay. Kathleen taught me how to do that. Thank you, Kathleen. I've never done it. I've always had people do that for me when I do Zoom presentations. Okay. Now, the interference energy, let me talk a little bit more about it. When we go through difficult times in life, typically it's traumatic life experiences. Like an example, a health crisis. One used to be, it's the most common way to attract it directly. The second most common is a breakup in the family, especially a bitter breakup or loss of a loved one and a lot of grieving. The third most common that I used to find, when I say most common, because now I find something that's more common than any of it. The third most common was mental and emotional problems. Anybody with Alzheimer's, autism, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, they very commonly attract interference energy because of the weird states of mind or either the deeply negative states of mind they might enter into. And then people that are drug and alcohol addicts, addiction, that can bring it in often, especially those that are in and out of rehab, that kind of thing. But remember, what I said earlier, once somebody has it and has attracted it, it reflects out into the home, and then it affects everybody else in the home. So let's say one person has it in the home, they'll have that number 7 imbalance. It's totally out of balance, but everybody else in the home will have the number 6 imbalance. But until about the beginning of COVID, I used to say in many, many talks that I've given, mostly when I traveled, that all you basically have to do is say a blessing, which I called it my 3-step pattern removal and home blessing process. If you said a blessing basically that would remove other people from outside the home, that would remove most of the people with interference energy at that time. What I mean by that is I used to find in most of my sessions, remote sessions, it wasn't members of the immediate family that had attracted interference energy. There was people that were imprinted in the home or connected to the home through their involvement, through staying there. It's typically extended family, imprinted in the home, connected to the home, or friends and family that are very involved with somebody in the home, and people, and then their energies can cause the problems. But now more so than more than I've ever seen before, and it seems to be getting worse since COVID. If you think about it, if it's things like fear, anger, depression, anxiety, loneliness, any of these things, if those are the kind of things that bring it in, what's been happening in the last 2 years? The world has been, all world governments have been spreading this fear about COVID. And they've shut down governments, they shut down businesses, they make people stay in their homes. Some countries are still under total lockdown. And so people are thinking, am I going to lose my home? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to lose my business? Am I going to lose my family members or my own life? And that can easily bring that we can get in those states of mind that have that attracts interference energy. But then it cascades. Then it interference energy. There's an article I'd like you to read on my website. If you go to the website, and it's the first post I have there. It's called Things That Go Bump in the Night. It'll tell you much more than I can tell you in a few minutes. But once we attract it, it can pass on to others. Now more than ever, I find it's direct family members, often my client themselves, that have attracted this energy. It's often more than one person in the home with interference energy, whether they live in the home or they're just imprinted or connected there from outside the home. And then when I clear the interference energy, they'll often still show a number 6 imbalance, even though I've cleared it from the home. That tells me they're energetically connected somewhere else or imprinted somewhere else. Remember, we are all one. We're all connected to each other. So you could be imprinted again at a therapist's table, a doctor's table. You could be imprinted in a hotel room, a friend's home. You could be imprinted easily in Airbnbs, hotel rooms and Airbnbs. I find interference energy around those. I clear those for some of my clients, but also when I travel. Interference energy is now so abundant in these places. And interference energy connected to one person in one hotel room will affect the energies of the rooms around that area, not the whole hotel, but around that. And it'll affect the other people there and then the other people imprinted there. It's not uncommon now when I connect to a client, and after I remove the interference energy from them or whoever has it in their home, when I find everybody else is in the home still showing that number 6 imbalance. Remember the one that was not quite totally out of balance, but the one that was interference energy was causing it, related to somebody else. It's not uncommon to find 3, 4, or 5 or more people in a hotel room because we leave our imprints, and they don't last forever. But when we sleep in a bed, we get up, or we lie down in bed, you get up, you leave an imprint, and that could last for months. Now, I don't know what causes them to be gone on purpose. I mean, in the normal life events, I know I can remove it on purpose. If I can remove these energies, patterns on purpose from a place, then they must be removed in the normal course of life events. So again, I don't know how long somebody stays imprinted somewhere, but you could imprint in somebody very close to you in their home. Let's say you go and visit a very close friend or a family member, and you might, and you haven't been there again for years, but you stay in touch over the phone and through Skype and through FaceTime or whatever, chatting, texting. You are reinforcing that energy to stay there. And it's not all bad. If we're leaving imprints, it must be under universal law. And so there must be a good reason for it. I think most of us are where we're imprinted, and those are living connections to us. We are affected by the energies in the places we're imprinted, and vice versa. Most of the places we're imprinted, the energies are all normal and good. I think that helps to stabilize us. But you can learn, that's what I mean, I've taken dowsing with rods and exploring passionately for many, many years. That's what's giving me this, and then working with thousands of clients, that's what's giving me these understandings. So what happens when somebody attracts, I'll give you an example how common it is. I did a Zoom talk recently for 15 medical doctors, and I invited invited all of them to send me their addresses, and I would let them know if they had interference energy affecting them in their home. Out of 15 medical doctors, and since then there's been several more that have in that group that have contacted me for sessions. So it's even more than that. Out of 15 doctors, 13 of them either had interference energy connected to them in their home, or connected to them or somebody else in their family, or connected to their home. And the other two didn't also sent me their parents, their aging parents' names and addresses. And both sets of parents had interference energy. That's 15 out of 17. Plus, you can probably add 3 or 4 more that have contacted me since then for remote sessions because they saw it after the fact. And so it's so prevalent nowadays. And then this is my problem. In the 15 years since I've been finding this energy, for 14 years, I could not teach anybody to do it. We conduct an average of 3 retreats a year in our home. People stay here with us 5 nights. Now it's 4 nights, but for many years it was 5 nights and days. We feed them. Laura has been to a shorter one that was longer, that was even longer ago before we moved here. But she mentioned it earlier during the introductions. But out of 40 plus retreats, everybody learns much that they can learn to help themselves and others in life, but they didn't learn to confidently go home and find this energy. The way this works, as you'll read in the article, Things That Go Bump in the Night, which I highly encourage you to read. I already have, but I still want to stress it. When it connects to us, several things happen simultaneously. If we attract this energy, whether we catch it from others or attract it directly, it'll greatly exacerbate the negativity that brought it in. It will set up in certain places in the home, for some reason, typically 2 bathrooms and a closet, as vertical columns of detrimental energy, typically in one of 3 different places. They're all highlighted in that article, explained in that article. And those energies are about 1 foot in diameter. I like people to envision things, even though this is invisible, and they'll go floor to ceiling. That is the cause of almost all geopathic stress, in my opinion, from my experience. So once it sets up in those places, that's what I call interference energy. It will then cause all the natural energy grids in the home to be detrimental, including the house pattern that you saw illustrated, including the checkerboard grid, including the diagonal grid. All those will be out of balance, and it'll cause everybody else in the home to have that number 6 imbalance, if you remember, which was out of balance beyond the head of the bed and the foot of the bed, but out to the sides, it wasn't. That's somebody that has interference energy. And it's too bad we can't just refer to that again and again while I'm talking about that, but it wouldn't work too well. Okay, then it will increase negativity in everybody else's energies, in everybody else living in that home or connected to the home. This energy exacerbates all negativity. The article explained why, and because basically it involves what many dowsers call entities. I don't like to call them entities because it implies demons or demonic activity. To me, this is all created by the negativity of mankind. To me, I call them negative beings. To me, with the negativity of mankind creates thought forms of negativity that take on a separate lives and existences of their own. For the most part, and these beings, and since these beings are created by negativity, they feed on negativity. So that's why they increase negativity in everybody in the home, everybody around people with interference energy. And for the most part, they can't affect us, at least until the last few years. For the most part, they can't affect us because even though we share space with the astral plane, they exist in the next dimension, and they can't, this is a different dimension, a different world to them. However, once there's a connection between the dimensions, that's what interference energy does. That gives them entry into it. I call them doorways to the astral plane. You might call them portals. So basically what I do, I don't really close the portal, I just remove it. And that takes away their access to the energies of the home. But you've got to be able to find that the way I've done it for 14 years, I only knew that to remove it by actually connecting to it with my rods or with my hands and saying a particular blessing, which is basically to do whatever is appropriate with that energy to bring healing and balance to everybody that it's affecting. And that's the gist of the blessing. That gets longer than that, but that would remove it from the home. Then I would see other people, I would check everybody's energies patterns in the home. And in the old days before COVID, sometimes that was all I needed to do. But now every single time, one, if not everybody in the home that's living in the home is imprinted somewhere else where there's interference energy. And so I do a blessing. I connect to one of their energy patterns. I do a blessing to follow the energy pattern back to the person and replace the energies in my home with the energies in that home or place, wherever they're connected with interference energy. And I don't know where I am then, but I count all the people with interference energy. I remove it again. And then I would do that. I would have to go 3, 4, 5 places deep. And I don't know where I'm going, but I would keep going until everybody, after I removed interference energy from the place I'm in at the time, till everybody has a normal pattern. Remember that number 4 imbalance that didn't show anything beyond the head of the bed like that, and the foot of the bed and out to the sides. And the reason I would keep doing that in one session is because I know it can follow down the line and come back to my client if they're still connected to those places, and I also break their connections. Now, again, the frustrating part was I hadn't taught up until a couple of years ago, actually up until last year, I hadn't taught one person to successfully and confidently repeatedly go home and find it on their own, whether it's in their home or other people's homes, and remove it on their own. They would still call on me for help. And that was getting frustrating because I know there's more interference energy connected to people in the world than ever before, far more. And in my opinion, is connected to more people than have had COVID or have COVID now, let's say. And it's affecting all the people around those people negatively. So it's like a silent pandemic because nobody knows about it or how to remove it except me. And nobody knows about it except people that have learned from me. And so excuse me, I just told myself one day after a retreat I did in early 2021, early last year, or no, October, I think it's getting time for me to end fairly soon. I'm going to wrap this up. In October, we did a retreat 2020. Again, not one person was able to do it on their own. I showed them where to find it. And anyway, one more time, it didn't happen. And my idea was to create a wide circle of people that had it. And I mean, that got it and could spread the work. And so I figured out a way I said, I've got to figure out a better way to teach this. I just put it out there and immediately the answers come. When you have enough information, you make the right statement of mind or ask the right question, the answers can come, and they often do with me. And I figured out a way to teach it. But and the next retreat, everybody was able to do it. However, and it involved those checkerboard and diagonal grid lines, but we won't get into that. So then, when I finished that retreat, and then we had another retreat come up, and they were able to do it. And then I thought, they were able to do it. So after that next retreat, I thought, now I've got to figure out a way anybody can do it, even if they don't do dowsing, if they don't know about dowsing, if they're not interested in metaphysics, if they've just had some of the problems in their families or close relationships with people that I mentioned earlier. Who isn't close to somebody that's been in the hospital, that's had a health crisis or a breakup in the family or a loss of a loved one? We all know people like that, if it hasn't happened directly to us. And so I figured out a way that anybody can remove it last June. Now, I don't know how many sessions I've done. This, again, is my full-time work, but I'm no longer clear for the most part. For the most part, I spend an hour to an hour and 15 minutes explaining to my client how and why this new blessing process works and why they have to follow the directions exactly, and it will work to remove interference energy. And and now every single client learns how to do it. They clear their own energies, and guess what? It works better than it ever worked the way I used to do it. We no longer have to follow it from place to place to place, because when this blessing process will clear all the way up the line. Now, all my clients, it'll clear anybody that's got the interference energy, has attracted it, anywhere those people are imprinted. And if those people that are imprinted there with it are imprinted somewhere else, it'll follow right up the line and clear all the interference energy. Then I complete the blessing by breaking connections to everybody in this family that I'm working with and everybody that was connected inappropriately to any of those places. I can have that in the blessing. And then I finalize it. The client blesses their own home. And what I'm going to do is this is going to people beyond this group here, but I promised in the description of the group, of the talk, that I would share this blessing process, which I'm beginning to call my miracle blessing process, with everybody in the group that requests it. But I'm only going to be sharing it with the group that's here, that's your group, that is actively participating in the live session, in the live presentation that we're doing here. If you request it, my email address is joey@dowsers.com. You can just go to dowsers.com, and there's a form you can fill out and put anything you want. And I'll send it to you, but I'm going to do a limited time. I'm going to do it from tomorrow. By tomorrow night, I'll take it through midnight tomorrow night. So don't waste any time. I won't get back to you right away, maybe, but I'm going to send 1-page blessing, that process, that if you follow the directions precisely, it will clear the energies for you, and you will feel the difference. I would say the majority of you are probably indirectly affected by interference energy, or have it in your homes, or maybe some of you have it even directly connected to you. This energy causes many problems in people's lives, including paranormal activity. If you're having any of that kind of weird stuff happening in the world, in your home, it's probably interference energy. And so another one I'm going to send you is my simple blessing process. Everything is based on my simple blessing process. All my other blessing processes are extensions. That's at the core of all of them. And then I'm also going to send you the blessing field, blessing over electrical fields. And now, and one more blessing that'll, if you do it just as described and keep it up, not every day, but if you do this blessing just as described, you'll keep your energy pattern clear pretty much 24 hours a day, when the simple blessing process will only clear your energy pattern for a few minutes. And I'll give you a little teaser. You bless your toothpaste with the simple blessing process. That's all you do. And then every time you brush your teeth, you're reinforcing that. And it's all explained on a one-page document. Now, I'll share those with others, anybody that has a session with me gets everything that I share with everybody, share with my clients and students. And I also want to offer everybody, even the people that watch after today, if you mention this presentation, the Tucson Dowsers presentation, and you want a session, I'll give you $50 off of the price of the session. If you've had a session with me before, you already get a discount, but you'll get another $50 off. And when you read you'll also learn that there's a whole section about it on my website about my remote space clearing services. And so you can read all the details, how I do it, and the costs and everything else. And but I want to, and then I think we're going to be going to questions and answers now. And then I want to close by this official part of the presentation by saying, I really appreciate all of you participating. All of you are putting this together. The leaders of the various groups that are participating today, that really takes a lot of effort to run a group, a dowsing group, or any kind of group like that. And it just, and you are helping me. When I share this, all I'm going to ask in return is that after you do the blessing process, give it a few days, tell me if you really notice a significant difference, not only in yourself, but in your family. That's all I ask. You're helping, every client that works with me is helping me test this blessing process. And it's working the 90 upper 90% of the time. If it doesn't work, it's because they didn't follow the directions exactly. That's only a one-page document. It ought to be easy to do that. So thank you all. And I'm here for some questions and answers. I know I've covered a lot of stuff and I've spoken real fast, and it might have boggled some of your minds, but hopefully you've been able to follow it. I don't go by a prepared script or anything like that. I just go by what I want to cover. And so I'm ready for questions.
All right, Joey, I just wanted to clear one thing up, and I put it in I hit send already, but this offer for the folks who are actually in the meeting right now, when does it end?
Tomorrow night at midnight.
Okay, good. So I got that right. So that's in the chat, folks. It'll end tomorrow night at midnight. And if you look at
I'm
Joey's
already getting
picture,
requests.
I know I can hear the binging over there.
I also want to point out that Joey's on Eastern time. So for those of us on Pacific time, it's going to be 9 p.m. So check your time zone for the deadline time.
What's going to be 9 p.m.?
Well,
okay, so midnight
your
Eastern time. Midnight
Right, that's
Eastern time.
5:39. I'm 5:30. It's 5:39 here.
Right.
Okay,
so
the
if the
deadline
deadline
is
is midnight
So
Eastern time.
If you're on Pacific time, don't call me at 9 at night. Don't call me at 9 at night anyway.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay.
But just as a deadline.
That's
time,
good.
so
Okay.
Okay.
people
One
can
more
be
thing I
aware of
want to
that.
say before I close. I'm planning, and your groups can help me do this. I'm hoping in my 70th year of life, I just turned 69 in February. In my 70th year, I hope to be spreading videos and information about this throughout the world. And if I can get one video to go viral, and then I'll be willingly sharing it with anybody. Right now, I'm still improving it and testing and always tweaking it. I'm hoping to really reach many millions of people, and because the world needs it. And this has been what I think is part of what I came here to this life to do. And I've got evidence of that, which would take another presentation to explain to you the evidence that I have that this has been coming since at least I've known something's been coming about this time. I've known something's been coming since 1980, and I've gotten several reminders of it. And no time to explain that now, but this is not an accident. This is not really things I discovered. I feel like it's all been revealed to me. We all have inner guides and teachers, and I just am a better seeker and follower than most people. I know I'm being guided, and I ask for the guidance. I get the guidance, and then I do it. And so you can all do that. You can all do extraordinary things. Don't limit your dowsing to just what you've learned from other people. Okay, I'll close for now.
Joey, I just really want to thank you. I mean, this is amazing presentation. It did a little bit. It was, like you said, kind of fast. I want to watch the recording again because, but I think I got most of it. The one thing that I got that I wanted to reflect back to you is how frustrating it must have been to have all this information and not be able to teach it. You know, to have all the information about what's going on and not be able to successfully teach it to others. And then the magnitude of this
And before
breakthrough.
everything else, I'm a teacher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the magnitude of this breakthrough in that you finally found a way to teach other people how to do it is so exciting. And we are so excited to have you here celebrating that and knowing that it's in the process of being released. You're doing a limited release and that we get to be part of that and we get to be part of the experiment. And so everybody, you know, if you're interested in being part of this experiment, email Joey. His email address is on the screen under his name right now. Okay. And just, you have till midnight or Eastern time tomorrow
Right.
to have access to this offer.
Now I got
Okay.
the hot thing.
Right. So midnight Eastern time, and, you know, get a hold of that, you know, try the blessing process. Let's help in this spreading this amazing blessing. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
And really, yeah. And so anybody who has a question, please raise your hand. If you go to the bottom of the page on your Zoom screen, you'll see reactions. Go in there, you can raise your hand. We have a question from John. Teresa, this is your job.
Okay.
So
yeah.
John, if you'll unmute yourself and
Okay,
ask
so
the
I'm going to
question.
take hands,
yeah,
Kathleen, and you're taking, there's a bunch
Right,
of
and
questions
I'm
in
gonna
the
go
chat.
in the chat and I'll get the questions. If you can't raise your hand or whatever, put it in the chat and I will be checking the chat, okay?
Okay, and you might want to go back in the chat.
I will.
Okay.
I'm
Hi,
good.
John.
Alrighty.
Joey, this is fantastic. I'm really excited about what you're doing. I'm glad I stuck around until the heart of the material. Really a great story that you're telling and practicing. And my question is, I guess, I'm entering into a new phase of my life's work at this stage, which has always been focused on healthy soils and healthy food. And what I'm just initiating with another friend is transmuting the toxic chemicals that have been ubiquitous in our world, in the soil and in our internal soil into beneficial energy. And So I'm wondering where how that resonates with what you're
Well,
doing. Is that
let me just say, I'm honored. I mean, it's great that people like you are focused on that. That's not my focus. Now, when I used to have an organic garden for many years, I did many things that might be related to that, blessing the garden and planting each piece, but that's not my focus. However, I would encourage you to use the blessing process. Call on whatever you consider the divine to help you, not only to actually do what you're saying, but to guide you, to give you the ideas to know what to do. And then look for those ideas, and don't just say it, do it once. And I would do, you could bless yourself with, when you get my simple blessing process, you'll see an asterisk. And that asterisk is for an optional statement that you can add anything you want to it. And you say, you can add, especially to help guide me to know what to do in order to accomplish this. And you can apply that to any aspect of your life. And but I think let's focus more to the rest of the talks. I mean, the rest of the questions on particularly what we're talking about today. What I can help you understand today that I presented. And thank you, John. Thank you for doing what you're doing and for sharing.
thanks, Joyce. Great.
Thanks.
Okay, let's take a question from the chat. And we got a question. It came in really early in the talk, but it might be a nice thing to review, Joey. And he was saying, how do you decipher what type of energy you're detecting? So if you detect an energy, how do you decipher what type of energy it is?
Many years and lots of dowsing. If you want to be a good dowser, you not only have to douse a lot, you have to not practice every day. I mean, you hear the old thing, practice. It's more like it's got to be a passion within you that you're driven to do it. That's what makes you a really good dowser, in my opinion. And then you can focus your efforts on whatever you want to focus on. Now I've drifted away from the question. What's the question?
The question is, like, suppose you determine there's interfering energy. How do you figure it out?
Well, go back to what I shared. I begin by looking, when I connect to a home, the first thing I do is I walk diagonally in my home for about a few feet, and I know where to find those diagonal energy grid lines. If that's detrimental, I don't have to go. I mean, I know there's interference energy. If that's not detrimental, then I go, and it takes a lot of practice, even though I said it's not about practice, it is about practice, but you got to have the passion to do it. If I then go and search for the checkerboard grid, all I have to do is walk a few feet or a meter or two. And if I get a reaction there, there's an earthbound spirit. Those are the two primary causes. Then I what I've done in the past is connect to that vertical column that I call interference energy, say the blessing to remove it. If there's an earthbound spirit, I then that's a different thing. This new blessing process that I'm talking about will clear anything I've found, except it won't move on an earthbound spirit. That is a human soul who still has free will. You've got to communicate to that soul. You've got to pretty much convince that soul to move on. So electrical fields are easy. You douse towards any device and you'll get several reactions. It makes a vortex. I'm going to send all that. My book, Dowsing a Path to Enlightenment, is available through dowsers.com. My rods are, but it only takes you to where I was in my understandings in 2013. If you've got one of my old books that's stapled, that's not my current book. The revised edition has 5 new chapters and it's in a regular paperback. I ought to be able to I don't do my marketing well. I should be able to hold it up. So anyway, it's hard to explain. It's many years of dowsing and sorting out what I'm finding and learning, and I've been guided.
Right. And so it sounds like the best thing is to get this new blessing, give it a shot.
Read things that go bump in the night first to give you a
Okay.
good feel for what that's all about, and then do this new blessing at the foot of your bed. And if you've got trouble, if you've got discord in the family, a lot of it especially, or one person that's really having a lot of problems and causing problems for everybody else, or one person, anyway, you're probably going to see a change, a big positive change. If there's no energy problems, it'll still improve the energy somewhat, but it won't be as noticeable.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Teresa.
Okay, our next question is Gaia. Gaia, you're our next questioner.
Great. Hi,
Who are
Joey.
you? Hey,
Welcome.
Gaia. We are old friends.
Yeah.
She's helped me spread the word about my work for many years through her newsletters that she used to do, and many other ways. And she's always passionately wanting to learn my new stuff.
Yes. Almost as passionate as you. I mean, I'm so impressed by how much you keep seeking even new questions as well as new answers, This question is, you're sharing this really amazing information that anybody can do, and you're sharing it with all of us now who already are dowsers, and you're saying that with this miracle blessing, that we don't even need to be dowsers. I'm wondering if we could maybe all agree to do something like this, like on the 1st of every month or something, everybody to agree to do something along these lines. Wouldn't that like multiply the benefit if people were doing your blessing at the same time?
In fact, I have some guidelines that I send to all my clients. I suggest, unless there's a real reason to, like somebody that's got big problems in the home and is continually reattracting this energy, and that somebody that's really sick, or somebody that's mentally ill or whatever, somebody with Alzheimer's, you don't need to do it every day. I don't want it to become a rote recitation that ceases to have meaning, but I do suggest maybe periodically once a week for most people. Then whenever you go and stay in a hotel room, have it in your phone, save it to your phone, or have it on a piece of paper, lie down on the bed, get up, and then say the blessing at the foot of that bed. You have to lie down first the way the blessing is written, because it's about working with the energies of your own bed pattern and the imbalances in the pattern. When you go for a massage so I'm basically encouraging people to take care of themselves, but in so doing, they're helping many people.
Okay.
So I don't think we all have to do it at a certain time. I just think by the time, when I get to the point where I'm really spreading it out there, enough people will be doing it. That's what's going to make it happen, in my opinion. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. It just seems like what you were saying, there's such a lot of negativity on the planet these days, and fear, and and it's understandable. I mean, I've pretty much turned off the news because of that. But
I quit watching news for the most part a couple of years ago. Just tired of it. All the political drama, just tired of it. Anyway, I'm working on my way of spreading it. And I think anything you want to do on your own is great. I will say this, though. I do want to ask you this. You are free to share this one-on-one to people you think you might, all of you, that you that it might help them, you're free to do it. I ask you not to send it to contact lists, not to post it online. I'm just not ready for that. And I'm, like I said, I'm still improving it. Those of you who worked with me several months ago, when you know, anyway, I'm always refining, and I'm always, with all my work, simplifying. And that's why I think Jill heard in a talk she heard recently online, some Zoom presentation. Complex is interesting. Simple
Is effective.
simple is what, yeah, simple is easy, you know, whatever. That wasn't it. I don't have the words right now. But simple is, I'm always simplifying. And this is a very simple thing to do. When my work, many people consider my work through the years to be complex. Okay,
I have one-
many other plans. You want many other hands? Anything else you want to ask real quick?
Well, I wanted to ask also that this is something I wanted to ask you for over a year. And it's that you've said that, you know, this there's a pattern wherever we frequent in our homes, like at our desk, on our, you know, the bed,
especially where we
the
sleep.
kitchen sink and everything. And since we're is it the same? Is it the same, you know, bed pattern? I mean, is it going to have like the detrimental stuff in there all the time? Or
it's not that. I don't know. When I'm talking about the human energy pattern, I really don't like to call it detrimental. I'd rather call it balance and imbalance. And I know what you're thinking about. The first my early book versions of my book, and it's still in my current book, where I tell you my journey of how I discovered all this stuff. And I tended to find energy imbalances around beds, not only beds, but sinks, desks, that kind of thing. We can imprint anywhere, but I think the best thing to focus on is the energies around your bed and wherever you lie down on a physical structure raised off the floor. You're going to leave an imprint. And if you just, you know, when I think many great teachings say the best thing to do to help the planet is to help yourself. The more you raise your own consciousness, the more you work on your own stuff, the more you're helping the whole planet. The more you raise your own consciousness, you're raising the consciousness of the planet to that degree. And I think it was Mother Teresa. Yeah, Mother Teresa said to some famous person many years ago, she asked Mother Teresa, what can I do to help bring peace to the planet? And her immediate answer was, bring peace to your own life, my child, and in your own heart. So everybody doing their own part, that's what makes it all work.
thank you.
Awesome.
Okay,
So Gaia, if you would
Thank you.
lower
Nice
your
to meet you,
hand,
Gaia.
that would be good.
I can do that.
Okay.
Teresa, I think it's time for us to go ahead and
Okay.
do our
Official
closing
close.
announcements. And then right as soon as we're done with this, we will continue with the bonus Q&A. So everybody who has their hand up,
Yeah, leave them up.
you know,
We'll be back
But try
yeah,
again.
we'll be back.
and
Yeah.
stay. Yeah. So we'd like to thank Joey Korn for this marvelous, exciting, inspiring presentation, and we're very grateful for everything he's done, and want to remind folks that if they want a copy of his new Miracle Blessing, that they need to request it from him at dowsers.com. Is that right?
Joey at dowsers.com.
Joey at dowsers.com by midnight Eastern time tomorrow. So we're like this really blessed group. So hopefully you'll all take advantage of that.
And
Want
also,
to,
if anybody is interested in a session with me, well, I'm now booking we're going out of town for a few days. I'm now booking. We're beginning to book next Saturday. We're skipping Sunday. I live in Augusta. I watch the Masters on Sunday, but it'll be Saturday or after. And then I explain to you, just like another seminar. It's a seminar on the phone where I help you understand how I came up with this new blessing process, why it works, and why it works so well. Okay,
And if you remember, if you mention Tucson Dowsers meeting, you'll get a $50 discount.
that's right.
So take advantage of that as well. Want to remind you all that the wonderful Susan Collins is going to be our speaker on May 7th. And she's going to be speaking on dowsing the future. Yay. I don't know if you're still here, Susan, if you wanted to pop in and mention the International Dowsers call on May 8th, if you're not. I don't know, she's still here. Anyway, there's an International Dowsing Association call on May 8th. And they have a Facebook page. I think if you look up International Dowsers, or it's on Susan Collins' website, then you can find out what time it is in your location. And I think for us in Pacific Daylight Time, it's going to be around 1:30 or 2 o'clock, somewhere in that range in the afternoon. And
1
there's
o'clock
the 1
Pacific
o'clock
Daylight Time.
Pacific Daylight Time. And there's always the West Coast Conference, which is going to be happening in July 1st through 5th in Santa Cruz, California. They are at dowserswestcoast.com. And you need to read that to see what their COVID restrictions are if you're intending on going. And the ORI conference, April 23rd and 24th, is when those presentations are going to be made available. And let's see what else. ORI, International Dowsing Day, West Coast Conference. And then Mile High Dowsers meeting is next weekend. And you can go to, I think it's Dowsers Mile High. Is that correct, Sabrina? And get information on
I don't know, we
it.
put Mile High Dowsers, but I'm not sure what the right one is.
Okay.
Yeah, milehighDowser.org.
.org. Okay.
Okay.
milehighdowsers.org. Sorry about that. And go for that. And I wanted to mention, because I forgot to tell you, that our t-shirts come in sizes from small to 4X, and they're 100% cotton. The logo is on the front. And send your info to the Gmail, TucsonDowsers@gmail.com, and then you can pay either using the PayPal account, which is on our website at TucsonDowsers.net, or you can mail us a check. And the mailing address is also can be found on TucsonDowsers.net. Okay, I briefly saw something about Wisdom Keepers. Kathleen, did you get that? It was in the chat.
I didn't.
Okay.
Whoever posted that, are they still up?
Yeah, if you are still here, you can unmute and
Hi.
hi.
Hello, Joey. I'm so happy to be here with you all today. Thank you, Joey, so much. This is Melinda Iverson and I have launched Wisdom Keepers of Earth, and we have season 1, episode 3 coming with Marty Kane. We started out with Willie the Well Whisperer of Maui. Episode 1, episode 2 was with White Eagle, and those are all available for free on my YouTube channels. And Joey's a wisdom keeper as well. So I just wanted to let you all know that those stay up and you can see sacred ceremonies, and we're going to do all kinds of wonderful things there. Joey's one of our guests coming. So thank you very much for letting me say that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So Melinda, what's it called? Wisdom Keepers
of Earth, and it's on the Melinda Iverson in YouTube channel. It's a playlist, and we're in season 1, episode 3 is coming, and Joey is one of my guests. We will be coming up soon.
Okay. And is this a weekly
monthly,
or a monthly?
right now
okay.
It's a monthly YouTube release called Wisdom Keepers of Earth. And White Eagle, we just launched White Eagle. He's our episode 2. We launched with him in March. So all of these wisdom keepers have something to share with us, and it's for free. You can go back and watch all the sacred ceremonies and sacred discussions there.
And Melinda, can you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
I wanted to say something. Nice to see you, and thanks for participating. You know, I love that when you sent me a list of all the questions you're going to ask everybody. And then we had it, and then I read them all, and I said, okay. Then I got ready for those. But then once we got started, I don't think we covered any of it. We just had a wonderful conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Joey.
Didn't follow the format, sorry.
It was my great pleasure to have you as a guest. You were amazing. And we got it all in. So, and I wanted to say that the toothpaste blessing is really fun.
It makes you want to brush your teeth more.
Yes, it does. And while I'm on, can I just ask a quick question? Is that okay? Or should I wait?
Not yet, not right now.
Okay,
We need to wait
okay.
for the Q&A.
Excellent. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much. So YouTube channel, Melinda Iverson in Wisdom Keepers of Earth. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Tucson Dowsers. And thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay.
Okay, so raise your hand or put your question in the chat. Oh,
Yeah, she's
so-
got her hand up. Okay, so
perfect. I think that's it for me.
I just want to, I think that's it for our announcements. I want to remind everybody to save the chat because there's a lot of information on the chat. Go down to the bottom of your chat. If you're on a computer, there'll be 3 dots. And when you click on that, there's a save chat option. It will send it to a Zoom folder in your computer. If you're on a phone or an iPad, I'm not sure how iPads work, but if you're on a phone, you just have to do screenshots. Sorry, there's no way to save the chat. Okay, so just letting everybody know, it's a good thing to do now maybe, and then again at the end of the meeting, and you get all the information from the chats, okay? And it looks like Melinda put her link to her YouTube channel in there, so thank you, Melinda. Okay, I think that's
Alrighty.
it, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Are we gonna go
so-
back to a chat question and then?
No, why don't you go back to a person? I'll get caught up on the chat.
Okay.
Okay,
So let me see the other link. Hang on.
so it looks like
So
Diane.
Diane Dennis is our next question.
Hi, Dan.
I don't. Let's see
Gotta
where you
unmute
are.
yourself.
You need to unmute. Yeah.
Go ahead and unmute, Diane.
Can you hear me
There you go.
now?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can.
Okay. I had a question about the interference. Are some people more affected by that, or like children more affected, or empathic people?
Yeah,
Would you say?
good question. Empaths are gonna the more empathic you are, the more you're gonna feel it. It
Mhm.
affects everybody's human energy pattern the same. But some people don't really feel the energies. So in general, to give you an example, I really don't feel the energies. If I felt the energies like many of my clients and almost all of my regular clients that are very sensitive, they're all, I couldn't do this work. I'm bringing that energy into my home several times a day, if not many times a day, and dealing with it. And teaching my clients now to deal with it. And so, yeah, some people don't notice it, but others cannot help but notice it. Others, it can even cause physical problems, intense headaches, feelings of choking, nausea, and this energy. When people have had it around them for a while, and they know something's off, and they can feel that something's off, and they do this blessing, it's just, they can't believe it. The ones that, if you really feel there's energy problems in your home, this will make a big difference. So everybody, it affects everybody, but everybody doesn't feel it the same.
Mhm.
And it doesn't, it only, I would say from my experience, it causes paranormal, some kind of paranormal activity from minimal to crazy stuff, maybe 40% of the time, 30 to 40% of the time, not most of the time.
And what about sleep problems then?
Sleep problems are the most common.
Yeah. that's
Now,
what I thought.
I have to admit, I've had sleep problems all my life, and I know there's no interference energy here. I think it's just the way my mind works. I don't know, but a lot of people that have sleep problems, it just goes. If anything that's caused by the interference energy or these beings that are related to the interference energy, just stops once it's cleared. But it can return. That's why that's why I teach people to do a maintenance. Again, doing it once a week, when you go to the doctor, when you go to the hotel, when you go for a massage, anywhere you might lie down, when you get home, do it again. Or at the hotel. You'll see, you'll get it more when you see the blessing. You'll understand what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm definitely going to try it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, Kathleen, are we moving back to the chat? Are you ready for that?
So in the chat, there was a question. Now this came in at the kind of the beginning, Joey. So it was give a few examples of interference energy. And I think you've gone through that. I have 4.
Okay,
A
it
list
can
of
cause
4,
sleep
but
problems. It can cause physical problems. But what it does, it exacerbates all negativity, and including symptoms of illness and disease. So that's the main thing. Whatever negativity is going on in people's lives, it makes it much worse. And so if somebody's sick and has symptoms, whether it's just a sickness or a long-term disease, it's going to make it much worse. The symptoms. If you're angry, you're going to be more angry. It exacerbates negativity. As far as paranormal activity, several things are mentioned in the article. It can be as minor as knockings and tappings on the walls, or on ceilings, to bangings, to hearing footsteps, and even feeling. You know how you can feel when somebody's walking in your house, especially maybe in the hallway next to your bedroom or something. It can cause that when you know there's nobody walking in the home. I've had many clients tell me that they hear voices. In fact, a lot of people end up on psychiatric meds. A lot of people, I think, are on these meds because they've shared people that they're hearing voices and seeing all this weird stuff going on when it's interference energy. And not everybody, of course, but it would make it worse for everybody. Okay. Anything?
thank you. Yeah, that was that. Yeah, thank you so much. That was a question from Kurt. So thank you, Kurt, for asking that question. Okay, Teresa.
So now we're ready for Joanne. Joanne, are you? Joanne Widener,
No.
or sorry, Joan Widener. I was making a
Thank
list
you.
and I wrote it wrong. Sorry about that.
Thank you to Sundowsers for having this available for everybody. I've been following you since your first episode with Raymond. I learned my dowsing from Raymond, 20 some years ago already. And Joey, I want to thank you for your presentation today. I can't thank you enough. This is really exciting. My husband and I have been doing geopathic stress clearings and have known about this since 2011. It came to me, I don't know if you can see my screen, but it came to me in my Holistic Horse magazine.
I see it.
April, May 2011. So this is where we learned about geopathic stress. And when we read the article, Noxious Energy Fields in Your Paddocks, Barns, and Homes, I knew we were onto something here. We went to a Holistic Horse Fair. I saw the magazine, subscribed, voila, here came the article. So hearing your presentation today, I'm very intrigued. My husband fortunately had to work today. I want him to definitely view this. We would love to get in touch with you and go further with this. We started clearing people's homes last year, started to get very serious because we know the significance of this. But now seeing your value of this information today brings a whole new light onto it, which is wonderful. So we would like to go further with this.
Well, if you have a question, I'd like to get to it, but I saw in the magazine, the stallions, that reminded me of something. Pets, dogs, cats, and horses do not like this energy.
Correct.
It can drive some of them just batty. And but I've never found interference energy connected to a dog, to an animal. but it affects them, many of them greatly. Some of them are just happy-go-lucky. They're like me. They don't feel anything, right? Not that I'm happy-go-lucky, but I don't feel the energies. But they have an energy pattern too. You know, going back to the question about what things does it cause, they have an energy pattern too. If a dog or a cat, if there's anybody in their home with interference energy, it will cause their energy, the dog or cat's energy pattern to be totally out of balance, like somebody that has interference energy, even though they don't have it. And they might bark or hiss at nothing. It seems like nothing. Horses are more when somebody's imprinted in the stall, or maybe somebody that's in natural energies. Our energies reflect in natural energies take on forms, are affected by physical structure. They take on the shape and dimensions of physical structure. So if somebody is like in a barn or a stall, or a barn, let's say, and there's horses there, it'll affect all the horses to some degree. But usually, unless somebody's imprinted in that stall or that barn, it'll only affect them until they leave. You don't imprint as easily if you don't lie down. That's a way I know you imprint. I don't know other ways to imprint.
Well, we,
Okay, so did you have a question?
well, I just will add to that some of the people that we've cleared, we've done their chicken coops, because I felt, well, if they're on these crossings, which we've cleared the Hartman lines, Curry lines, and especially the black streams in the homes, of course, looking for the interference lines. But I myself had horses, so I made sure that our paddocks were cleared. And
Hey, Joan,
Okay.
yeah, do you have a question? Because we have a list of
I've got a question.
questions.
I've got an answer for what she's just talked about, and then we'll move on. Okay, Joan, here's a big hint for you and for all of you. When you find an energy, even if you don't use my blessing, or if you're somewhere you don't have it with you, if you're dowsing and you find an energy that douses detrimental, I used to say just bless it, and it'll bless it with a blessing, a request that it become beneficial, and it does, and it will, but that won't last if you don't get to the cause. If you find an energy line or energy line that douses or that is detrimental, say a blessing to connect to it, say a blessing to follow it to the source or cause of its imbalance, and do whatever's appropriate with that energy to bring healing and balance to the complete beings of all that are affected by the energy, including animals. So follow the energy to the source is a key to all the energy imbalances, all the energy. When I find something I don't know what it is, that's what I use now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Joey, and I'll be in touch.
Just remember, most of the energies themselves are symptoms, not causes. Something is causing them to be out of balance or detrimental.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, John.
Sure.
Kathleen, do you have more from the chat? Kathleen, you must be muted.
Jackie,
Oh, there you
sorry,
go.
Jackie has a question in the chat. It says, if somebody has left the home, say after a divorce, and the other partner is still living in the home, would the energy interference still be there?
Yeah. If the person has left the apartment, the home or the apartment, if the person has left the home and they had interference energy, they've left an imprint that'll stay for some length of time. And especially if there's continued involvement, it could last a long time, whether the involvement is positive, like just keep creating an amicable relationship for the kids, or whether it's negative with a lot of arguing and fighting and legal stuff. The more you're involved, the more you're reinforcing that energy to be there. And you can just, a simple way to do that is please remove so-and-so's energy from this home. but that's going to work better if you have a better understanding of what it's all. The more you understand, the better all this works. That's why I spend an hour or more with every client now, helping them to understand, not just do the blessing, but understand the energies and why it works.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joey, and thanks, Jackie, for asking that question.
Okay, and Ronald, you're up next. You need to unmute yourself, and good to see you.
Same here. Thank you. Joey, I got a question for you. Can
Okay.
this be used from a distance?
Well, I do it all from a distance, but the way I do it, I don't suggest people, I don't just suggest people dabble in it.
Okay, the reason why I asked the question, because I know the last time I'd seen you, probably about a year ago or so, and I think you had mentioned the fact that you could also do it from a distance too. If you knew like a sick person somewhere way far away from you, you could also send them a blessing too. For their
You
health.
can bless. Okay, the simple blessing process, and I don't know when you saw me a year ago, unless it was another Zoom meeting. The simple blessing process, if you can bless anybody, and anybody, if you bless somebody and you envision them and you bless them by name, it's somebody you know, it will help them, it'll clear their energy pattern, but that will only last, I learned many years ago, for a few minutes, but it helps. The more important way to use a simple blessing process is to bless yourself the first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and throughout each day, whenever you catch yourself in any kind of thought or emotion. That's more of a living your life blessing.
Right.
Okay. It does. You can bless anybody, anywhere. You don't even have to know where they are. If you know them and you envision them and bless them by name, but just blessing them won't make the lasting changes. Not with again with the simple blessing process, and this new blessing that I'm talking about is done primarily in person. I don't, but this is my life work. I don't suggest bringing in people's energies into your home purposefully. It can cause problems for you and the other people.
And another question I have is that I've been working with a person lately who has like a chemical imbalance. Now, could the chemical imbalance be coming from within their home?
Well, certainly it could. I do know that most people that suffer from depression it's a chemical imbalance, but I think that chemical imbalance is within the person. However, people who are depressed often attract interference energy, and they're going to be more depressed once they do, or if it's anywhere in their home. So, yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of answers to that question. Okay, I see a lot more hands up, and I don't want to take too long here. Let's go on to somebody else. Thank you.
So thank you, Ronald.
Yeah, thanks, Ronald. Okay, and so actually, I think you just answered this question. Tim had a question. When you're done clearing, have you ever had the energy come back? And so
interference energy can come back. Yes.
Yeah, so it comes back. So this new process is going to be more helpful for that.
Yeah, maintenance. Now, okay. One more thing. If once somebody successfully helps an earthbound spirit move on, they never come back. In my understanding, they're finally getting somewhere, where they realize what they've been missing, and they're getting into the higher realms. A lot of people will send, quote, entities to the light. From my experience, that doesn't work. You got to get to the source. Why do they have access to you or your home?
All right.
That's a really great point, and I appreciate that, Joey. Okay, Teresa.
Okay, so Leola, you're next. Leola.
Yes, and I want to extend my
Hi.
thanks as well, Joey. I appreciate all that you've done and the backup team that you had to put this together. My question is, I live in a condo, and if I'm clearing my house, is it appropriate for me to work on the same units in my building? I'm on a second story.
Is it appropriate for you to, let's back up a little bit. I used to think I wouldn't want to live in an apartment building or condo complex like that because we were sharing walls, and if there's people with big energy problems next door, above or below or next to you, that it would pass through. But now, after dowsing many homes through the years on site, that I real and remotely later, that it doesn't happen like that.
Oh,
So
good.
that's part of the
Thank you.
answer. Part of the answer is it doesn't. As I said earlier in the talk, we define the energies of a home by living in the home.
Okay.
And the energies of our home are the energies that we bring into the home they conform to physical structure. So your neighbor's energies are not going to just pass through your walls and affect you negatively. However, if there's a neighbor with trouble, if you got a difficult neighbor and you have a difficult relationship with the neighbor and they end up getting imprinted in your home, that's a different story. But for the most part, you're not affected by your neighbors above or below or around you.
Good, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Leola. Okay, then there was another question from Alice Hutchinson, and she was trying to go through the steps of the blessings. But I think that actually going back to sending you an email and you're going to send out all that information.
That's right.
Would be a better way for her to access that. And your email is joey@dowsers.com. So Alice, he's going to be sending like 4 different types of information to you if you contact him direct, send an email. So, okay, Teresa, why don't you go to the
So
next.
Sabrina, you're on.
Hi, Joey. It's nice seeing you again. You sort of answered quite a few of the questions already, but
I love speaking with your group, by the way.
Oh, thank you. We enjoyed having you at both times. The question I wanted is, with your toothpaste blessing, which is great, I was thinking, I'm like you, I'm constantly asking, and I'm a big water drinker and I'm constantly walking around. I actually thought of putting a copy on my glass to walk around.
Well, when you read the 1-page document I'll send you, you might already have it. Didn't I have that?
It's been a couple of years, Joey, and you know how things get lost.
The reason that I chose toothpaste is because when you bless something that you consume, when you bless somebody or yourself with the simple blessing process, it will clear your energy pattern totally for a few minutes, and it'll help you. You keep doing that through life. Every time you do it, you're improving yourself more and more and more. However, you haven't gotten to the cause of your imbalances, which is your struggles and strains of life, not necessarily not energy problems necessarily. Okay. If you bless something you consume, then when you bless something, you're charging it with energy. When you define what you want to accomplish with the blessing, you're defining the frequency of energy that you're charging that something with. If you then consume that product, that substance, then you're assimilating that energy that you've charged it with into your body. That will last the better part of a day. That's why blessing water would do the same thing. But the reason I chose toothpaste is you don't have to bless it every time you brush your teeth. The tube, and it's, if you could bless your glasses, for example, and it would last longer than just blessing yourself. but in time, and it won't take but a few hours maybe, or if that, you're going to overpower the glasses, the energy you put into the glasses. But once you consume something that you've blessed, you won't overpower it. It'll last a better part of a day. So when I figured that out, I put all that together, and then I thought, what does everybody put in their, what does just about everybody in there put in their mouths, typically at least twice a day? And I thought, that we also don't carry around with us and we won't overpower it. And immediately the idea, toothpaste. We brush our teeth in the morning and at night as a general rule, sometimes more than that, sometimes just once a day. Sometimes we don't brush our teeth, but the point is, we don't carry it around with us. It stays on our kitchen counter, bathroom counter, or in the cabinet, or in the drawer, and you're not going to overpower it. I still suggest you bless your toothpaste every new tube, every month, once a month to be safe, and then every new tube. That's all on the one page document.
Can I ask you a different question? I own a winery here in Colorado, and it's a tasting room. So I constantly have people coming in and sitting down on the stools and leaving. So would I do a clearing every night after the business will close down? Or
remember, you always leave an imprint when you lie down, but not necessarily when you sit up. If there happens to be an emotional outburst with anybody during the day, I would. You might want to bless the home, the business, the business, once a week. Beginning of each week.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you so much, and it sure was nice seeing you again.
And you can also do this new blessing process there. You can figure out a way.
I'm sure I will.
Thanks. All righty, Kathleen.
Okay, actually, this kind of goes along with that. Paula Morgan asked, she goes, I own a small country inn. Should I do this in between guests?
Well, I see Paula up there.
Yep. And she's the next questioner. So you can go.
Okay, I'll let you just go, Paula. Just go.
Go, Paula. Go, Paula.
Yeah,
Paula, go.
I have been doing this for 20 years, and you gave me something new to think about. But I honestly feel like I wouldn't be in business this long if I didn't subconsciously kind of clear that energy anyway. But will this miracle blessing be something I should do between each guest?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
No doubt.
Okay.
In between guests. Massage therapists, if anybody that does any kind of therapy for others, where they use a table like a massage table, you can do that in between each client. You can do it in between guests. Yes, I heartily encourage you to.
We have an office area that connects the inn to our home.
You will see, if people, what you would do is you would go do this blessing at the bed where the people sleep.
As I clean. Can I do that? No?
No. When you do this blessing process that I'll send you.
Okay.
And if you request it.
Yes, I already did.
Figure out what to do with it once you get it.
Okay. All right.
Just remember, you got to follow the instructions precisely. You can make it generic if you want to do it anyway. See, this I got a lot more I needed. The blessing is written for you to do at your own bed, but you can then change the intent in the blessing as long as you don't change the. You can change the intent of you. You just have to figure. You can do it. You can just make it a general blessing. Bless and the. It's without me having. Again, this would take a whole nother talk.
Okay, I will read it.
In months ahead, you're going to be able to figure it out. In the future, the talk will be more focused on the blessing process than all the other stuff. and it'll be all about how it works, why it works. But that we've got a lot to go here before I'm ready for that.
Okay.
And you could maybe
But
use
I
your
am here to
$50
share.
discount to
There you
schedule a
go.
meeting with him.
Then I can coach you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can coach you to actually clear your client if you have
Your space.
have a session. You clear your visitors after they
Okay.
leave. You don't have to do it while they're there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
Cool.
thanks, Paula. So here's a question from Beth, and she says, I sleep on a mattress on the floor, because you had talked about a raised platform,
Yeah.
right? Is the energy different if it's not raised?
A mattress might, I know this, if you lie down right on the floor, you won't imprint. I don't think you'll imprint every time you lie down on a mattress, but if you lie down on a mattress every time, you'll imprint there. And that energy will still be come up to about neck and height. So you could do the blessing process that I'm going to send you the same way.
Okay, great. Thanks, Joey. Thanks, Beth.
Okay, Melinda.
Oh,
Melinda,
I'm out of town. I'm out of time now.
Oh, are you?
No.
Joey.
Uh-oh.
I honor that. I honor that. You may have already answered this somewhat, but I have had, after the pandemic, everybody wanted to come to Hawaii. I have had nonstop guests in my house sleeping in my guest bed. So I wanted to ask you, knowing my work, when I do the simple blessing process or your pattern clearing process over my own bed, will that include the guest bed, or do I need to go down and lay on it?
Oh no. And again, I need to make it, what I'm planning to do is make a generic version to use in a case like that. You do need to do it if you got multiple levels and you got guests coming. The best to just do it after they leave at their bed.
Okay.
While they're there, you can do it at your bed.
Oh, like it. Okay.
That while they're there, you can do it at your bed, but the energies seem to only affect interference energy, and other energies like an earthbound spirit. Presence of an earthbound spirit will typically only affect the floor where the person is or the soul is hanging around or imprinted or physically at. So then different floors will but you're going to do the blessing if you do it in between people that stay.
Yeah.
It'll clear your home, everything in your home, as long all levels of your home. It'll at least remove other people from your home if that's in your intent.
Yeah, I can tell when there's interference energy that belongs to a person, so to speak, rather than, yeah. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to mention was being as empathic, and there are many empaths in this room. The other night I had, because of all of whatever's going on, in the world right now, I remember waking up and like kind of almost in a cold sweat, like things were happening. And I did the simple blessing on myself while I was in bed right there. And I could feel the whole thing just, so thank you.
So that was probably not as lasting a thing. Yeah.
But it helped me get through the night so I could sleep and then deal with whatever I needed to deal with in the morning.
I can't tell you how many people have written to me or told me in person that they've integrated in there throughout each day life. They say it several, if not many times a day, and they really feel the difference that it's made in their lives, and they bless their loved ones too. That's again, different from the other blessing we've been talking about.
Right.
But I'm gonna send it to everybody.
Love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kathleen.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to mention to folks, actually, we're going to go until, it looks like we have enough questions. We're going to go till 4 p.m. Pacific and then end the meeting. So just to let you know, it's not going to go forever. It's going to go for a little longer.
Well, I planned on ending it at 7 my time.
Yeah. So that was an hour ago. I know.
We connected.
Joey's like, oh, there aren't going to be that many questions. Yeah, right. Okay,
So,
so one quick
new to it.
question, Joey. What's the name of the book that you were talking about, your current book?
What's what?
Your
The name.
current book that you mentioned when you were
Yeah.
talking, that has, what's the name of that?
Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment. Dowsing, the subtitle is A Path to Enlightenment, and it's the revised edition.
Okay.
And there are many blessings for many purposes throughout my book. This blessing is not in there because the book was finished and published as a revised edition in 2013. But there's an index to the blessings, all the blessings in the back, so you can quickly go find those blessings.
Great. And I'll put that in the chat. So thank you.
Toothpaste blessings since then too. I think, yeah, I don't think it's not in there. But the electrical field, there's a whole chapter on electrical fields, chapter 15.
Cool. That was my question I was going to ask, so I'm glad that's in there.
Whole
Okay, Teresa.
Okay, so we have actually two Tamaras that are both have their hands raised. The one who just waved, you're the one that's next. So go ahead and unmute.
Two
There you
quick
go.
questions, Joey. I do not use toothpaste. I use baking soda. It is in a
Same thing.
container. Same thing, right?
Bless the container and the baking soda. If you put in new baking soda, bless it again.
Okay. Then the next
Any-
chiropractic
anything you brush your teeth with. The chiropractic table, you consider it a bed. And
So-
you'd have to read the instructions are all there on that one-page document for that what I'm beginning to call my miracle blessing process.
So I would do the blessing before I laid down.
You mean your own bed?
No, on the chiropractic table.
Oh, no. I would just suggest, and I'm going to try to, and by the way, everybody, I'm going to be sending this a lot. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to get it all done in a couple of days. I want to do some other stuff for you too. We're leaving town, so it might take me some time to reply. However, what I will share is that when a chiropractic table, if you go lie down, don't worry about the energies. Just get what you can out of the adjustment or out of the massage or whatever kind of treatment you're getting. Then when you go home, go to your own bed and do it there. It'll take,
Okay.
and there's a second blessing that I need to send too, as a matter of fact, called removing your energy pattern from other places. I'll send all that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, Kathleen.
There was, and Tamara, I don't know if this was a question that you had. It was from a Tamara. It says, what do you do if you can't convince an earthbound spirit to leave?
Some of them are very pesky. They're very, I actually find the spirit's energy pattern. So I know when for the most part, I know that when they've left, but they can learn to hide too. You keep trying. Or call on me or I've moved on through the many. I didn't start working with that kind of thing until I moved into this house 15 years ago. And I couldn't, it kept coming to me. So I tried to stay away from it. But then I figured out how to do it. And I've moved on hundreds successfully, and it really helped with the clients. But there's one client that's got two spirits. I have not been able to do it. And I don't mind admitting that. These, for some reason, they will not leave. And I've even referred them, I won't mention names, to leading other people to do this work. And they weren't able to help them either. Only once, though, out of many hundreds, probably. Sometimes I'll clear move 2 or 3 spirits on in one day.
Okay. So Sia, you're our next.
Well, thank you.
questioner.
Thank you so much. I think you've answered my question. I was wondering about when the had a massage in my home, if I laid down and cleared the table, or the dentist, and I think you just answered that you wait till the time is over and then go to your bed.
Yeah, don't worry about it then.
Yeah.
You know,
I was thinking you would clear all the other imprints of the people that had been on the table first, but that's not really what happens.
I used to teach that, but then I with if there's interference energy connected to the table and you imprint there, you're going to be, when you wait till you get home, you're going to be helping those people too. If you just remove the energy pattern, you're not helping those people.
Cool.
Let's go beyond a little now.
Right. So keep your own bed, your own home is the center for this work.
Right.
The
And
blessing, for the miracle blessing part.
and then just in case there's not interference energy, but not just your own home. It's hard to, unless I had a full time, it goes way beyond your home. So if there's interference energy anywhere in the place where that you're imprinted for a massage or a chiropractic adjustment, when you go through that blessing process, if you do it successfully, you're going to remove the interference energy. If you have it, it's going to remove it from you. If anybody there has it, it's going to remove it from them. And then it'll also remove their energy patterns if they if there was interference energy there. Cool. But I still follow with another blessing, and it called removing your energies from other places. I'm going to send you all that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, cool.
I can tell you that I'm going to have to, but I'm going to have to
put together a file
for y'all this week. Give me a week before I reply to everybody.
Thanks.
Okay.
We're really appreciative. Awesome. So Kathleen.
Okay, Donna Lee, I'm looking in the chat and I saw something you said, something about changing wording to recipient. Can you just unmute and ask that question directly?
Sorry, I forget the context, but it was Joey was wondering how to change the wording to do with a particular person, someone other than yourself. So I just thought, it occurred to me, could you just make the generic term be the intended recipient of this energy?
It's really easier than that. Instead of saying bless, when you're going to be blessing you're going to be doing the blessing at your bed. Anyway, you're going to be doing the blessing at your bed. It will help you and anybody else where you're imprinted, where there's interference energy. It won't remove your energy pattern. The general part would be, it would just, instead of saying my bed, you just, and if you know there's an energy pattern there. For example, you go to a hotel, even without lying down, you could say, change, instead of my bed, you could say my bed pattern, or this energy field in my energy pattern. You could say this energy field in the energy pattern around the bed. You just make it generic. It's easy to do. I just haven't done it. I've said it, I don't know how many times I've said I want to put that on the opposite side of the sheet of paper, but I need to do it.
Well, you can always try it and then douse it to see if you
make yourself a note.
Yeah.
If it's funny you said that for a particular reason, but I'm never caught up. Everything I want to do, and that's why I try not to promise stuff it's going to happen right away. I don't promise anything. I learned many years ago, don't use the word promise.
Very good.
And I'm Jewish. I learned that actually that's the teaching in Judaism, not the promise.
Okay, I'm gonna move us on because time is adding up. So Tamara, number 2, that's you in the blue.
Yep. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. I had just a quick question.
I love the background there.
Oh, thank you. That's the Sandhills in Nebraska. So
very nice.
Yeah, thank you for a great presentation. My question is, you had mentioned like, so when someone has, or there is, that residual energy or negative thought forms, that it stays until you remove it. Does it, and I know you mentioned it may be dissipating. How long does it stay?
Wait a minute. The residual energy.
Yeah, like negative energy or
Person has-
detrimental energy.
Yeah, I know, but remember, it's all related to me. It's all related to people, living or dead, but mostly living. So when you remove, when you make it beneficial, when you bless that energy and make it beneficial, if you've gotten to the cause, which is what that new blessing process will do, it's not permanent, but it won't just return on its own. Well, you could clear your home and everybody connected to your home and go with that blessing process. You could then go and stay in a hotel room, come home. You're going to bring energy back with you because you're going to be affected through your imprint. That's why I suggest doing it at least, weekly. And I don't encourage most people to do it daily, again, because I don't want it to become a rote recitation that you just say words, like, and you're not thinking about it. You have to think about the whole thing but it's not hard. I just want you to, that's why I don't, you could do it every day if you want, but it won't just naturally return.
Okay, but does it stay?
There has to be a reason that it returns. Somebody could come into your home and stay in your home, and they might have it. They'll leave an imprint in your home, but then that blessing process will not only clear the energies, but even if they didn't have interference energy, it'll remove other people from your home.
Okay.
It's an all-in-one blessing process. And that's why I call it the miracle blessing process.
That sounds great. Does the energy stay? Like if you weren't aware of this process, does the energy stay until you do a blessing?
No, I don't know what, as I said earlier, I don't know what makes energy patterns dissipate on their own, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I know I can make it happen. If I can make it happen on purpose in a blessing process, then it must happen in the normal course of events under universal law. So ultimately, there's a good reason for it. But I don't know all the ways people can imprint places, and I don't know how long people will stay there. But I do know they can stay for quite a while. Energies.
Okay, no, that sounds great. Thank you. And I love the going to the source part. That helped me a lot. So thank you.
Sure, glad to help you.
So Kathleen, before we go to the next written one, I think I'd like to invite Barry to ask his question because I know he's kind of under a time constraint. So we're very grateful, Barry, for you showing up and doing your job.
Joey, I am so happy. I did it. Okay. So happy to see you and so happy to see how your work is maturing. I'm a big fan of yours, as you know, and timing is everything. I happen to be taking a course in Kabbalah right now, and you're adding another dimension to the study that I'll be engaging in.
In that book, it's chapter 7 that spoke to me. That's when I opened it up to any page, as I was instructed from within to do. It was the beginning of chapter 7.
I will pay particular attention.
There's several titles to each one of those chapters, and that was called The Light, and it's also called The Light of Awareness. It's also called Ha'or, which is meaning the light.
Right.
Yeah, and it's also called the 7th gate. I looked at just that. I thought that's mystical number 7, and that's all talking to me already. The whole chapter talked to me, but the real thing came. The real message came when I closed it.
That's really interesting.
So what's your question?
I just wanted, I guess, we're looking at the clock as well. Perhaps I
Yeah.
just can say thank you so much as a past president for the chapter and a big fan of yours for so many years.
Thank you.
I think we're real proud of this particular presentation and thank you immensely for it.
Well, Barry, I've been wanting to speak for your group for many years, and it happened. People would approach me, and then it never came about. So I'm glad we finally
Well,
made
it was meant for now.
That's right. I wouldn't have
Thank
been
you
able to
again.
share. I wouldn't have been able to share what I'm sharing today.
Exactly. Thank you again.
And that'll
Great.
change next year. You know,
And
that'll
thank you.
evolve. That'll keep evolving.
You bet.
I'm not quitting.
Awesome. Okay, and thanks, Barry. So Kathleen, now you can go if we have. I'm not hearing you.
The last
there we go.
question I've seen here is just really about, and I think you covered this already, which was, if you have guests coming on a regular basis, when do you do the clearing? And what I heard you say, and you can correct me, is you clear yourself when they're there, and you clear the room after they leave. Is that right?
Yeah. What I'm going to put together, I'm going to put together an email that I'm going to send to everybody. I'm just going to be copy and pasting, or either I'll send it to everybody BCC, and it'll have 3 paragraphs in there that will explain how to maintain it. And that'll answer your questions.
Excellent.
You don't have to remember all this, but you're gonna have to wait it. You might have to wait.
Okay.
We're gonna go away for a few days and enjoy the beach.
Awesome. I think we got it all covered.
It's been great, and I'm glad we did this. And
thank you.
And maybe in another year we'll do something more specifically about the internet. When I'm ready, I want it spread far and wide. I'm just not ready yet, as I said.
Joey, I think you're going to get a lot of participation and requests for this, and we very well may be an excellent beta test group in a sense.
Yeah.
So
Great.
I think we're going to probably be, giving scores of how things are going in future meetings, on the Joey project, and help you go with it. So, thanks again.
Thank you so much. And
Very good.
and I again, it just warms my heart that everybody is so interested in this.
Thank you.
And I want to interest the world in it.
You will. We'll help you.
Yeah, we're totally,
on board with that. So I did see, we're getting ready to close the meeting, but I saw a big question on how to order a t-shirt, and Kathleen is showing her beautiful t-shirt. Oh, Kathleen. And you can go, she put it in the chat. Go to our new website and hit the donation button to pay for it, and put a memo in there that it's for a t-shirt, and then send us an email at tucsondowsers@gmail.com. and send us your name and your address and your phone number and the size that you want. There you go. And there's Barry's.
Yeah.
It makes everybody look really, really good. And it's got really good energy in that symbol that it spreads as well. So that's it.
Joey, thank you. This has been awesome. I can't wait to see what happens with our experiment. And
we've been busy, so our email isn't in your folder yet, but it's going to be.
It was dinging so much with every email. I turned to unmuted for a while there.
So, that's
I
great.
mean, I'm muted for a while there.
And then we'll wait patiently for a week. Anyway, we'll wait patiently.
1 week.
1 week we're setting,
Then we're going to be knocking at your door. Thanks, Joey.
Yeah.
And just to let everybody know, you can go to TucsonDowsers.net /contact and subscribe to our newsletter, and everybody on that list will get an email with the recording of this.
With a link to the recording.
with the link to the recording. And once a month, we send out our newsletter, and it has links to all the past presentations for now. Then that may change later, but for now. And so go ahead and do that if you're not on our list. So it's TucsonDowsers.net/contact. And
also I'm requesting that you send us an email as well to let us know that you subscribe.
send us an email, TucsonDowsers@gmail.com, saying, hey, I signed up, because we're trying to make sure that our
links
new
work.
website is working.
Okay. And if you're not on there, then we can add you. So
yeah, we can do it.
But we do want to make sure that, you know, we would request that you use the link so that we find that out. So thank you, Joey. Remember May 7th, Susan Collins, Dowsing the Future. And
remember to copy the chat. Go to the bottom of your chat, hit those 3 dots, copy chat. Joey, I suggest you do that because we didn't have a chance, but there are a lot of people who have thanked you, who have recommended your blessings. They have testimonials for you in the chat. We haven't had a chance to give you that feedback yet. Okay, go to the bottom of your chat, right where you would type, and you see a little happy face.
Oh, the 3 dots.
And the 3 dots, and it says save chat.
Got it.
Got it. And it will go into a Zoom folder in your files. Okay, so you can find that. And I just want you to know, because there are probably 50 testimonials in there that you'd want to, you know, just be able to see who people thanking you for your presentation and for your teaching through the years. So I want to make sure you get that.
Awesome. And I want to invite everybody to our Tuesday night weather dowsing call, same link that you used today, 7 p.m. Arizona time, which is Pacific Daylight equivalent. So hopefully we'll have a large group and we'll see you there. And
Sia comes. Hey, Sia.
Thank you, Kathleen and Teresa.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ronald. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye.